guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. This is a very requested Q&A. So currently I am pre-filming a lot of my videos because as this goes out I'm actually in Australia, which is so exciting, so crazy. Still doesn't feel like it's gonna happen. As I'm filming this, it's about 5 weeks away, so it still feels like a long way off, but obviously when this is going up I've been there for a little bit, but I'm pre-filming. However, one of the most requested videos that I got when I said that I needed to pre-film for Australia was a Q&A about my trip, which obviously makes sense. You guys really want to know, and it's not like something that you do every day. A trip to Australia is like a big thing. It's like a life event, or that's how I kind of see it anyway. Like, it feels like a really big thing in my life that I know that I will look back on for the rest of my life. I don't know, it's just not something that I've always wanted to do. It's really bizarre because if you'd have asked me 5 years ago, do you want to backpack Australia by yourself, I would be like, absolutely not. I don't think I could do that. That's a really big leap to do. That's a huge character building thing, and I'd have just been like, no, you're alright, like I'll go on a 2-week holiday and then I'll come back. But I don't really know what changed. Honestly, if I'm honest, I think it was watching Unjaded Jade's trip from last year. So if you don't know, my friend Unjaded Jade is just incredible. She's one of the biggest inspirations I've ever met and watched on YouTube. I think she's amazing, and she went to Australia for 7 weeks, I think, last January. And at the time I was in university and I just knew that what I wanted to be doing wasn't that. So I was doing a course in art and design, a foundation course in art and design, but I was really unhappy, and I was watching her videos go out every week and I loved the videos, but it just upset me because I was like, this is what I want to be doing. Like, I don't want to be here doing this course at a university that I'm not that interested in. I want to see the world. I want to travel the world. Like, that is what I want. I literally thought to myself, like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Like, if I tell myself I'm gonna do it, I am gonna do it. So that is kind of the background on why. I know you're probably thinking that's really naive, you haven't thought it through, but honestly I have. I've done a lot of research, and I've done a lot of research into solo travel as well. So that's the first big question that I got. There was all of the questions were very repetitive, so I'm just going to break it down into like categories. So the first main question was, how do you feel about doing it on your own? How come you're doing it on your own? Why aren't you doing it with Tom? All stuff like that. All very valid questions. The reason I'm traveling by myself is partly because a lot of the trip has been gifted to me, which is just incredible. The amazing travel companies, Welcome to Travel and Ultimate Travel, have gifted me 2 experiences while I'm out there. One of them is a week in Melbourne and one of them is a week in Sydney. And obviously because I was working with those brands, it wasn't really an option for me to go with somebody else. Like, that's not why, but like in my head it just made more sense for me to do that by myself. I didn't know anybody else that was another YouTuber that would have wanted to do that with me, do you know what I mean? So that was partly why, but also I think that I wanted to do it alone because when you travel with somebody, it's really frustrating sometimes if the two of you have different ideas on what you want to do. I have been pretty lucky because everybody I've traveled with I either know really well or we've found a really easy middle ground, but it can still get quite tiresome and it can be quite frustrating if you want to do separate things, or, you know, it's quite full on. Traveling with somebody, you're living with them, you're sleeping with them, you're doing the day with them, and it's a lot. And I actually, honestly, I hold my hands up, I don't know many people that I could spend 6 weeks back to back with without getting annoyed. And I think that if you're on your own, the only person you've got to get annoyed at is yourself. Like, you can't take it out on anybody else. But I think also it will be a massive character building thing. A lot of you guys on Instagram were like, how come you're doing this when you got so homesick when you went to university? Another valid question. Purely because of that. Like, I went to university and I hated it and I felt so homesick. After a couple of months I actually realised that I loved it and I really enjoyed living in Leeds towards the end. The beginning was horrible. I felt so homesick, I was so down. But it wasn't just because of the homesickness. There were so many other things. Like, I was just at a massive question mark in my life, and I kind of still am. Like, I was just at this point where I was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think this is right. I don't know what is right. And everything was just so overwhelming. I had this like epiphany, so dramatic, where I was like, oh, I want to travel. I think because of the strength that it took me to get through university, I know that I can do it, if you know what I mean, because it's 6 weeks. It's not a lifetime. It's not 3 months. It's not a year. It's like, it's 6 weeks. It's not that dramatic. The reason I'm not doing it with Tom, which was another really popular question, which I honestly hadn't thought about until like I told my in real life friends, and they were like, oh, what about Tom? And I was like, well, obviously we've spoken about this, but he works a full-time job, like a real job, like a normal job, 9 till 5 every single day, and that's his life and that's his choice, and that is totally fine because it works for him, but it doesn't fit in with me wanting to travel the world. However, I really don't think that it's an issue because we've worked as like a long distance relationship in the past. When I was living in Leeds, obviously I would only see Tom on the weekends or like every other weekend, and obviously that isn't the same as going to Australia for 6 weeks, and it will be difficult. I'm not saying that it's not going to be. I genuinely that's probably what I'm the most nervous about, but we've never been apart from each other for that amount of time. We actually will have our 3-year anniversary whilst I'm out there, which obviously is a shame, but I'm back pretty much straight afterwards. It's like, it is a lot and it is scaring me and it is daunting, but the reason I'm not traveling with him is just because like it's just not, it doesn't fit into his lifestyle, and I'm not sure he would really want to. Like, it's not really a Tom thing to want to do, to go and travel Australia, to be honest. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever travelled without your partner and how you found it. You see, I've never done this before, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel, but in the summer all the trips I did were not with Tom. Like, I didn't go away with Tom until we went away with my family. But anyway, yeah, that was another popular one. Going back to the questions, a lot of people saying how long are you going for. I think I've said this, but I'm going for 6 weeks. It's pretty much exactly 6 weeks, maybe it's 6.5. Somebody said, how have you saved up for this? Realistically, how affordable is it? I think that really depends. So the flights weren't as expensive as I thought they were going to be. I paid in total about £1,200, but that includes like a 2-day stopover in Singapore. So on the way back I'm going to Singapore for 2 nights, which I'm so excited about. I keep forgetting that I'm going. Obviously it's right at the end of the trip, but that's a total different culture. Never thought of going to Singapore before, but when I saw that the flight stopped there, I was like, well, I'm never going to go to Singapore again. Like, there's not really going to be a reason for me to visit Singapore unless it's on this journey. So I'm staying there for 2 nights, which did up the price of the flights a bit, because then I was like separating the journey, if you know what I mean. But generally they were coming out at like £700 or £800 if you were returning to the same airport. The reason mine was a bit more was because I'm like traveling around Australia, so I'm flying home from a different airport, if that makes sense. And I didn't think that was too bad. If you take into account that the flight is like 24 hours long and you have to stop, like you can't fly direct, then I didn't think that was too bad. What you do once you get there really depends. So I can't really say how much it will cost if you want to go for 6 weeks, because it depends what you're doing. Mine was a little bit more expensive. If I hadn't have really kindly been gifted some of it, it would have been quite expensive, because I'm doing it all as part of a guided tour. I really didn't want to go out there and like go off on my own. Obviously that would have been quite dangerous. Like, a young girl by myself, not from that country, I would not have just like got a backpack and been like, right, let's go, because I don't really feel like I would have been that good at that. I am quite, not like, I don't want to sound super snobby, but I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm quite a luxury kind of person. Like, I've never done anything like this before. I'm like, let's go and stay in a 4-star hotel for a week and go to the beach. Like, I am not a traveller. Like, I've never been a traveller before. I've never been travelling before, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. I've never backpacked. I've never done anything like that. The closest I've been was when I did go to Italy in the summer, and we like stayed in 4 or 5 different places, but we still stayed in hotels. Like, we weren't in hostels or anything. But yeah, obviously it depends what you're doing once you get there as to how much to save for it. But I have had in the back of my mind for the whole year that I'm putting money away to go to Australia, and that is a separate pot of money. So I would say, if you're looking to go this time next year, probably start saving now and putting whatever you can afford away, and then just see where you're at, because obviously it depends. Are you vlogging the trip? Yes, of course I'm vlogging the trip. I'd be crazy to not. I'm not uploading while I'm out there, because I just want to have the best 6 weeks ever. I don't want to have to worry about where can I edit the vlog, when can I edit the vlog, is there going to be a Wi-Fi connection? Like, I just don't want to do it like that. That's why I'm pre-filming, so that I've still got content going out. When I get back, I think my plan at the moment, this could change, is to upload a vlog every Saturday and Sunday for probably about 6 weeks, because I'll have 6 weeks worth of content. Still upload like videos like this during the week and stuff, just to break it up, because I know that travel content isn't for everybody. Like, I do know that my main audience subscribed either because I was a beauty and fashion channel, which I did used to mainly be, or because I was at university and I was a student vlogger. Neither of those categories I really fit in anymore, so I'm in this weird space where like I'm trying to be a travel channel, or like elements of a travel channel, but obviously I do know that my audience aren't all interested in that. So yeah, it'll probably be every weekend for 5 or 6 weeks. I don't know. Somebody said, when do you go? So obviously by the time this goes up, I am already there, but I left on January the 2nd. I wanted to go as close to the new year starting as I could, because I have a lot of like family birthdays and stuff at the beginning of March, and I knew that if I wasn't back by like the middle to the end of February, that I was gonna miss them. Sadly, I am missing my mum's birthday and mine and my boyfriend's anniversary. Basically, my mum's birthday is the 10th of February and my anniversary with Tom is the 14th of February, and I'm back on the 16th of February. I just knew that if it was getting into March, if I pushed it back, I would be missing like just a lot of family birthdays, and like I've got tickets to see the 1975 at the end of February, so there was like other things, but then also I didn't want to go before New Year. I think in hindsight that would have been really cool actually to experience New Year in Sydney, but I'm not. So yeah, budgeting for while you're out there. Okay, I have actually already thought about this because I'm really aware that everything in Australia is really expensive, which before watching Jade's videos I didn't know. Like, why would I? I've never really thought about Australia and the currency before, but obviously I am aware now that things are expensive. However, the exchange rate is also quite good, so I think it's like £1 British is $2 Australian almost. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one. I'm going to try to stick to quite a tight budget because I'm not the best when it comes to budgeting. Like, I'm not somebody that can really sit here and give you advice, because when I'm away I am quite bad for just being like, oh, it's okay, I'll just get it on Apple Pay, and then looking at my bank account and being like, how have I spent £75 today? Oh wait, it's gone on food, trains, more food, unnecessary drinks, like stuff like that. So I don't want to be like that because I just think 6 weeks is a long time and everything's expensive. That's going to really add up. So I'm going to try to stick to a budget of around about £1,200. Whenever I go away, my thing is, however much it costs me to get there, I'll try and make sure I have at least that again, because that's how much it usually costs. So say for example you go to Europe for the weekend and you've got your flights for £150, I would try and stick to a budget of a maximum or a minimum, depending on how much you want to spend obviously, of £150. That's kind of how I would work it in my head. So with Australia I'm going to try and stick to 1,200 British pounds, which is around about just over 2,000 Australian dollars, which works out at around about like I think $20 or $30 a day. But then obviously some days I'm not going to need to be spending that, because with my package deals that I've got with the tour companies, you sometimes get meals included. Yeah, it really just depends, but that's roughly gonna be my aim. Whilst I'm still in England, I'm sat here like, yep, that's what I'm doing, and then as soon as I get out there, it'll probably go out the window. But I will keep you updated in the vlogs because I know that a lot of you are interested in maybe going out there as well. Can you please actually share your itinerary? Would love to know where you started with the planning. Okay, so I started with the planning by Googling. I did a lot of Googling. The best recommended trips for solo travelers, the best recommended trips for the East Coast in Australia, the best reviewed ones, things that had really good reviews on YouTube basically. On Google even, not on YouTube. And I'd also watched my friend Jade do a tour with Welcome to Travel, which I knew were based in Melbourne. I keep saying that wrong. Everybody's telling me that I was saying Melbourne wrong. Melbourne. When I saw that she'd done that trip all the way back in January last year, I followed them on Instagram because I was like, oh, well, I might not remember the at, so I'll follow them now and then see what they're up to for the full year, see if I still want to do it when I come to booking it. But then before I could even go ahead and book the tour, they actually reached out to me and said, hey, look, we've seen that you're friends with Jade and that you're looking at coming to Australia. Do you want to do our tour? So I was like, okay. And Melbourne seemed like a pretty obvious starting place, because if you look at a map of Australia, I'll put it here, Melbourne is like at the bottom. So either you start at the bottom and you work your way up the coast, or you start at the top and you work your way down. Like, that is quite a common backpacker route. And I knew that I was probably going to be starting in or around Sydney, which turns out is not near Melbourne. I thought it was like an hour down the road. It isn't. It's like 13 hours down the road. But anyway, so I said yes, and we had a phone call and we had a little Skype meeting and we organised some stuff, and I decided I was going to start in Melbourne with Welcome to Travel, and that was my first week in Australia. But then on my own research, I had found a company called Ultimate Travel, and their tours looked incredible. I still think that they are the best travel company that do like a worldwide amount of tours that I follow on Instagram, that I've found off my own back, because they offer so much. It's not just Australian travel. They do like Indonesia, how do you say that? Indonesia. Like Thailand, Bali, New Zealand. They do loads of other places basically, and every tour looks great and I really want to do them all. But anyway, their Australian ones, they offer a few different options. So I reached out to them and said, hi, I'm coming to Australia. And I'm going to be honest about this because like I feel like I don't want to lie to you guys, obviously. So I told them that I was coming and that I was vlogging the trip and that I was working with Welcome to Travel, and if they offered anything similar. I did not expect them to be like yes. I just thought it's a shout into the void and I might as well ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get. And this trip is like, it's expensive. Like, it is not a cheap trip, and I'm so fortunate that I'm in this position. Like, honestly, I am so aware and I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky. So I reached out to them, and this really lovely lady got back to me and put me in touch with somebody that was like, hi, we'd love to have you do some social media work for us. Do you want to come on this guided tour of Sydney. So I was like, yes, I don't have any other plans. So then they booked me onto their 8-day tour of Sydney and the surrounding areas. So I think it's also like some of the surrounding areas that are a little bit less of like a city. Off the top of my head, I don't know all of the ins and outs. So that was incredible. So then I knew that that was my second week because I like timed it so that that happened pretty much straight after. And then I was like, okay, from here I'm on my own. So I'm gonna book another one of their tours because they do the East Coast tour, which is really, really famous for backpackers in Australia. So I booked onto their East Coast highlight tour, which is 3 weeks up the East Coast, starting in Sydney, ending in, right, I keep saying this wrong as well. I think it's Cairns or Cairns. Cairns. Once I get there, I'm sure somebody Australian will say it and I'll realise how you say it, but right now, I don't know how you say that. And that is where it ends, and then it goes to all of the well-known places up the coast in between, so like Byron Bay, Whitsundays, Fraser Island, the Great Barrier Reef, Brisbane, just basically the East Coast of Australia for 3 weeks, having a few days in each place, and you're with the same group the whole time. So I'm going to be with one group in Melbourne and then one group in Sydney and then one group for 3 weeks up the East Coast, which just sounds incredible. And that is like 5 weeks, but there's a couple of odd days in the middle, like in between, which make it 6 weeks because not all of the tours run back to back basically. So I think that is a rundown of my itinerary. I've talked a bit about budgeting, I've talked about solo traveling. Honestly, one of the things I'm most nervous about is the flight, because I don't mind flying, like it doesn't bother me at all. I've done quite a lot of long haul flights to America, but like America is not the same distance away. In my head, I'm like, oh, for God's sake, like a flight to New York is such a long way, a flight to Florida is such a long way. Like I get so bored on those flights. Like we flew to Florida in the summer, and by around hour 6, I was just tetchy, like I just wanted to get off it, and it makes me really agitated, and that's what I'm worried about, because it's like a 7-hour flight to Dubai, which is long but it's fine, and then it's another 15 hours from Dubai. And that's what I'm the most nervous about, because I'm going to be completely alone. Usually it's alright passing the time on a plane because you can talk to whoever you're with, but not this time. So my options are make friends with the people sitting with me, or try and sleep, but I also can't sleep on planes, so like I don't really know what I'm gonna do for 15 hours. Anyway, that's why I'm coming home via Singapore, because I was like, I'm gonna be shattered. I don't really want to just do the flight and then be home. Like I would rather stop off. That is how I'm ending the trip. 2 hours in Singapore. 2 hours? 2 days. Also, I'm so sorry about the sound of my throat. While I'm filming this, I'm quite ill, but hopefully by the time I go to Australia, I'll be better. If you have enjoyed this video, give it a huge thumbs up, and if you've got any other questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below, or head over to my Instagram. That is where I'm the most active at the moment. Whilst I'm out there, I'm going to be posting stories, posting photos, like I'm going to be the most active over on the gram. So basically, if you're not following me, drop me a follow and leave any questions that you have about the whole trip on my pictures, in my DMs. I'm trying to get back to most people about most things. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna go. I hope this helped make things a bit clearer about what I'm doing and when I'm doing it and stuff like that. But there will be vlogs. The vlogs will be coming from around about the 20th of February, there or thereabouts. So yeah, subscribe so that you don't miss those, and I shall be back with another video on my channel very, very soon. Bye guys!